I thought I was done talking about Tyla and how Black Americans are being stupid right now towards her and have always been stupid since they discovered her music. But apparently I have one more thing to say.
Tyla album flopped. She only sold nearly 4,000 on the release in America.
We all know why Tyla's EP flopped. She came to America trying to brand herself as the next Beyonce, the next Rihanna.
She could take her ass back to South Africa where they got that apartheid going on.
Tyla album flopped. She only sold nearly 4,000 on the release in America. Duh. She said she wasn't black. She said she was colored. And then you had an opportunity to rectify yourself on The Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God. And your team said y'all should not have discussions about blackness. You're in America, a country that everything is rooted in race. The Black Americans try to educate you on that, like, hey, don't use that here. You refuse to take the education. You decided to go with this, oh, well, I'm an uppity African. So the Black Americans were like, okay, cool. We finna fall back. And they fell back, and so did your streams. Why are y'all surprised? And then what made the matter worse was the South Africans got in the comments and said, Black Americans think everything revolves around them. In America? Yes, in America, everything is based on race. And y'all thought she was bigger than the program. And she learned very quickly. Instead of you taking the education to connect with your black audience in America, you wanted to be uppity African. So you got the streams. And your fan base said you was big in South Africa and Europe. Why didn't Europe and South Africa stream her music and put her to the level of success y'all thought she was going to be? Why are y'all coming for the Black American women? I'm so confused. Tyla has always been talentless. Her music and her sound is not unique. She can't dance. She's not a strong vocalist. She has no depth. Her personality is basic. What was we supposed to like? I don't even have a single Tyla song on none of my playlists. Not my Afrobeat playlist, not my Ampiano playlist, not my R&B girl playlist. She's not on nothing. That's how talentless she was to me. And I'm African. So yeah, good luck, Tyla.
We all know why Tyla's EP flopped. She came to America trying to brand herself as the next Beyonce, the next Rihanna, while in the same breath saying that she does not identify as a black woman. And South African people ate us up, saying that we do not understand South African history where apartheid just ended in the 1990s. I feel like there's just a lack of respect, and a lot of these brands think that Black Americans are so stupid that someone can sit in our face and tell us like they don't identify with us, but yet we're supposed to give our money to them and support them. I feel like she's gonna try to have a rebrand soon, and her team's gonna scramble to try to either rebrand her as a pop star maybe and less of R&B, or try to come back and act like she's so racially competent now and she's ready to be embraced by black culture. Either way it goes, when she first came out, she gave me a bad taste, so I don't think that I could support her.
If Tyla wanted to use the word colored, that's good on her. Black Americans are just not going to engage with it. I have people telling me, oh, you need to educate yourself about being colored. No, you're not going to Jim Crow my black ass. She could take her ass back to South Africa where they got that apartheid going on. Go back there. It's okay. Take your colonized ass back there and let them call you colored. I will never take advice from a South African. Understand this. When more people realize that Black Americans, we accept a lot of people in American music because we love to see other black people do good, even if they are not from this country. But the moment that you try to be funny in our face and play identity politics, we still have the key to the gate. We still have the key to the gate. We still own the keys. She tried to play identity politics. The people around her tried to play identity politics, and they lost the game. I'm sorry to tell you. People talking about we need to educate ourselves about being called colored. Understand, you must not understand how America works, because the moment that Black Americans open up that door to be called colored, guess what's coming behind there? Because you give them an inch here, they will take a mile. You're not going to Jim Crow us. No. This is why they did try to call people colored and blacks. They wanted to take the human aspect out of it. So being called people of color and black people is a very different thing. Now, if you don't stand on those values, that's okay, but we're just not going to consume your music. You do not have the privilege of having us be your fan base. It's okay. And trust me, when Black Americans don't listen to it, nobody's going to listen to it. We are the trendsetters. They just steal the trends.
And I thought I was done talking about Tyla and how Black Americans are being stupid right now towards her and have always been stupid since they discovered her music. But apparently I have one more thing to say. One of the reasons why that beautiful, thriving young woman will not flop regardless of whatever sales numbers you guys are pulling up trying to say as facts is because you people exist. Her promoters. You people are consistently doing free promo for my babe. You claim you don't care about her, you don't like her, you don't listen to her music, but all y'all do is talk about her. And the more you keep talking about her, the more people keep knowing who Tyla is, the more they go and stream, the more they go and buy. Moral of the story, as long as you are creating your art and doing what you love, and you notice that you have a lot of haters, let them do the promotion for you. Since they won't stop yapping about you, they're going to propel you to the place that you need to be. Keep talking about her. All you'll see is her going higher. That's all.
I'm American. I lived in South Africa for the first half of 2016 and the latter half of 2017. And here's what everybody's getting wrong about Tyla. First off, Tyla's colored. Oh yeah, she's colored through and through. She's not colored in one place and black in another place. She's not, she's colored. And it's an important distinction to make because being colored in South Africa versus being black in South Africa have two vastly different implications as to basically what outcomes to expect out of life. And it's specifically due to skin color or race, so to speak. Basically, the difference between America and South Africa in terms of race is unlike in America, which had the one drop rule, meaning any amount of African made you black. In South Africa, there was a separate racial classification made for mixed people. With the exception of Cape Malay people, most colored people are some sort of mix of various, corners of the globe that had migrated to South Africa during the pre-colonial periods, plus like native Khoi and San people in South Africa, plus like some kind of African, some kind of Xhosa, some kind of Zulu, or the other southern ethnic African groups that was like down there. Oh, and a little bit white, but not an exorbitant amount. A lot of people like to equate colored people in South Africa with like Creole people in the United States, and that's not what it is. Colored people are more like Latino people, specifically kind of like Dominicans. Where it's like they're mixed with previous colonial powers and, another set of like almost like Asiatic, some sort of people. And then a mix of like a little bit of African, but the dominant culture, the way that they constructed race at the time stigmatized the African presence within the person's heritage, right? And in South Africa, these implications were very de jure, very stark, very overt, very much codified in law, right? If you were colored, there were very specific advantages that you had over black people, like period. And it could be as simple as passing a comb through your hair that would decide whether you lived like here or there, whether you lived in a shipping container or a, modest home of some kind. Whereas colored people experienced discrimination and displacement and all sorts of those sort of things under apartheid, they didn't experience it to the same extent that black people experienced it. So, say, for example, colored people still lived in these zones that were still like very much under white control. They were still excluded from participating in voting and things like that. But in contrast, black people were schlepped off into these like homelands, what they called them. And these lands were actually like excluded from South Africa. So they made like different countries out of these places, and people had to, if they wanted to like go work in South Africa, i.e. like 30-mile train right away, they had to carry these passes. So black people always had to carry these passes if they ever wanted to like pass the checkpoint to like go to South Africa, i.e. like travel 2 blocks again to like, get their basic needs to go bring back home, whatever, what have you. Colored people didn't have those requirements. My experience with colored people in South Africa, bear in mind I was studying in the Western Cape. If you ask the plebeian version of me, I'll tell you they were racist. If you ask the astute sophisticated academic that I am, I would say that colored people, due to their mixed race heritage, were by and large placed above Black people in various aspects of life in South Africa. And many colored people had internalized this narrative. And a lot of colored people who do not espouse this narrative had gone through an extensive unlearning process to reach there. This idea that like, oh, don't say you're colored. Colored is a slur. I wouldn't go there. Because again, colored doesn't equal Black. They're not saying like Black in a mean way. They're talking about a totally different set of people that had totally different status in their countries than like Black people did, right? So again, to reiterate, right? Today, you could go to South Africa, you can go to a public place, and there could be a colored person and a Black person standing next to each other, and they are two different people. You could say that person is colored and that person is Black. And so yes, very much like a lot of like sort of anti-Black socialized, like Latino people, let's just say, like colored people are also socialized to dissociate themselves from Blackness at like certain points. Yes, I kind of study the artists and stuff, the folks that come out. I had heard Tyla in interviews talking about like the Bacardi dance. It's not twerking. No, it's not twerking. Like at first, it's things like that where it's like, yes, there is an implicit sort of conditioning to say like, oh no, I'm not doing a Black thing because I'm colored. This is a colored thing. The appropriation is still there and the benefits are still there. But I don't think that someone like her who like, I think she like left college like kind of early to go and pursue music. Like I wouldn't expect somebody like her to like have a real understanding of those types of nuances and like, have any kind of political education to be able to really like articulate them. And I do think that it's a lot to try to like get one person to have all the answers on. It feels a little bit sacrificial lamb-ish, and I kind of feel like it's unproductive. But with that said, the vitriol against Black Americans from Black South Africans is very real. But why is it happening, right? If Black South Africans are essentially leveraging somebody that doesn't claim them, right? Because Tyla is colored. Tyla does not consider herself a Black South African. Why are Black South Africans essentially rallying behind somebody who considers themselves institutionally above them to scapegoat and, hate on essentially Black Americans? Well, rumor has it, at least at the time that I was there's a tiny little narrative going around in South Africa where there's essentially an inroad for Black Americans to be classified as colored in South Africa. Now, if Black Americans were considered tantamount to colored South Africans, that was spelled TROUBLE for Black South Africans. I could see the massive frustration there. Like, I think that's where a lot of the xenophobia comes from. It's like, you got these folks that, how Black Americans are represented in the world. We're the most like overexposed culture, like literally in the world. The good, the bad, the ugly of Black people is shown to the, to a surveillance extent, right? And that's on purpose. But Black South Africans, a lot of them that are displaying these xenophobic sentiments are afraid of having some folks come in and literally be placed above them in society. It would be a very serious problem if it's not already. I haven't been there in a few years. But when it comes like to the album flop, like, I don't know, flop is a strong word, but we can definitely say the drop has not gone as expected, as anticipated, especially just for like her fan base. From what I understand, they were like told a lot of different things. There were dates and things that moved lengths of the album that was not the same as promised and whatever, what have you. So clearly some things did go wrong, but Tyla was initially very anthropologically grounded in her work, which I really thought was an asset when she first came out. She represented Amapiano. She represented like the South African sound and really is kind of the first sort of geopolitical event coming out of South Africa. I think of like the Beatles from the 60s, a similar sort of invasion, so to speak. when people say, well, she didn't want to assimilate into Black American culture and she should have learned to assimilate. Well, she did assimilate. If you listen to the EP, she clearly assimilated into Afrobeats. So clearly her team had stopped worrying about America a long time ago. But I think that they overestimated how easy it would be to go into the Afrobeats market. I don't think that they anticipated that, you know, there wouldn't be this sort of sensational uptake of her as there was in the United States. Anyway, I like to analyze artists and musicians from these geopolitical standpoints. Like, I do get a real kick out of it. It helps me to understand, like, the share of power, like, in terms of, like, world dominance and you know, the economic implications of that. So there's definitely going to be more on this. And sorry if this sounds a mess, but this is my initial take.